Hey guys, I guess this is part two of a continuation of the last video. I was talking about Tim. Um, I want to sum that whole situation up because there's too much more to talk about. Um, Tim was in and out of my life, okay? Even when I had my first child, he was in and out of my life. He would come around and help babysit, and he was a different person. I trusted him, and I definitely trusted his mother. His mother was just a saint, okay? And they loved my son. This is my oldest son, who's 23 now. So, Tim had a hard time accepting that I had a child with somebody, but he wanted to be in my life, and I allowed him to. So, um, we'll just leave it at that. I found out through Google, actually. I found out that he had passed away in December 2019, and I almost couldn't believe it because I had been trying to figure out a way to reach him for years just to see how he was doing, and I couldn't find him. And then I couldn't believe I found the obituary. Now, Tim had a lot of demons and problems, but he always seemed to overcome them. So, that part of my life, I got over it. We had good times, bad times, and good times again. I gave him a second chance and let him in my life, but I didn't want to be with him. And he was willing to accept that. So let's put Tim behind us. He was my first serious relationship. And in between him and my youngest two children's father, I had a relationship with a guy that I met. This is very weird, okay? Everybody remembers payphones, right? If you're my age in your 40s. Well, I was at the bus stop downtown and the payphone rang, and I don't even know why I did this. I answered it, and this guy, Brian, I don't even know what. We were on the phone forever, like we're talking about dumb stuff. He's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for the guy that's selling the radio or something," and it turned out to be a really crazy ride. Okay, that's all I can say about Brian. Um, there's good stuff I can say, there's bad stuff, but he was kind of like my first love. Tim was my first serious relationship, but Brian was like, I was 14, 15, he was 16, 17. So he was in and out of my life too, because he was drinking too. He was drinking. He wanted to abuse alcohol. Did I drink underage? Everybody probably did. But if you can't control it or you act a certain way, then you shouldn't be doing it. So anyways, we ended up breaking up. I'm trying to think of what age I was when I broke up with him. It had to be after my mother passed. But another spoiler alert, he's the father of my oldest son, Zach, who's 23. So, what ended up happening is in between Tim and my younger children's father was Brian in my life. Again, okay, when we got older. It's a little bit confusing. We were 14, 15, 17 when we first met. We would talk on the phone, we would see each other, and then it just faded. And then somehow over the years, we would just, he had the same phone number, or I did, and we would just talk on the phone. That's one thing we could always do, was talk on the phone. We loved the same music, we had a lot of the same interests. He made me laugh. It was never awkward. And I considered him my first love, but not like, it wasn't a serious relationship, even though I did get pregnant. I got pregnant with Zach, okay, our son, while I was working at my dream job. So, and they were very understanding, okay, very understanding of me. I don't want to say I wasn't ready for a kid, but I almost didn't believe it. And he was very, very, in his own way, abusive towards me too. I don't know if I have like loser and naive written on my forehead, but he would leave me mean messages and everything else. Even after all that, when I went to the hospital to deliver Zach, he didn't even show up the day Zach was born. His mother did. His mother and his sister did, okay? His mom actually wanted to be in the room with me when I delivered Zach, and I said no. It was a little bit too awkward. I didn't know her that well. But he didn't even show up the first day. The second day he did, and I, like, who does that? It's your son, your firstborn. And so, but there's a lot of details in between the story too. Like, he wanted to move in with me when I was pregnant with Zach. I was sick every day. I had morning sickness. I just didn't want to be bothered with. And so he moved his stuff in. I wasn't ready. I mean, I was sick. I was pregnant. And I just wanted to be by myself. And so I told him, like, no, we can't do this. And then that turned him into a very angry person. He would call my job, leave messages for me before I even got there. That way I would check my messages and then cry and be upset at work. Like, it was just super, super immature. Super immature. And I really want to sum him up because I want to get to my two youngest kids' dad. But there's somebody in front of him too. Jesus, guys. I didn't date that many guys, I promise. So yeah, so that's how he was. He didn't help at all with Zach. I was a single mother. At one point, his mother asked if she could take Zach 1 day a week. Now Zach was full-time daycare, and I think it was like Tuesdays. It was her day off, and I said, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna blame her for how her son acts. And so every Tuesday I would drop Zach off there,